Hey folks, welcome back to the Offgrid workshop. My name is Nigel, and in this video I'm going to be installing the wind deflector on the front of my ARB Base Rack. But quickly before I do that, I thought I'd talk a little bit about this. So when I first was researching the ARB Base Rack and trying to figure out what I needed, what I was going to buy, whether I wanted it with the wind deflector, all that sort of stuff, I saw quite a bit on forums and stuff around the noise of this roof rack, and quite a few guys were like, oh yeah, the wind deflector is essential. And so I initially thought to myself, well, is it actually essential? Because my Land Cruiser makes quite a lot of noise, so when I just drive at sort of cruising speed 70 miles an hour, there's quite a lot of wind noise, and it's mostly the sunroof actually, and maybe possibly a little bit of noise on the mirrors, but it is noisy. Like, it's certainly not just a smooth ride in there. When you're sitting in that thing cruising at 70, you can hear the wind quite a lot. And so I thought, well, it's already a pretty noisy car, so surely we don't actually need the wind deflector. And boy, was I wrong. Got this thing installed, and first drive I was like, whoa. There's a point where somewhere between 40 and 50 miles an hour you hit that speed, and the wind noise is like, it's almost a physical juddering. It was very strange. And so hopefully the wind deflector takes care of that and gets rid of it, but only time will tell. But anyway, put the roof rack on, drove it for about a week, and then I was like, yep, I am definitely going to need that wind deflector. And interestingly, I actually found the wind deflector quite difficult to find here in the UK. Emailed a whole bunch of websites, and it turns out that the only company that had it was the company that I bought the roof rack from, which was 4x4 Works. And so messaged them, and I have to shout out to them. The service has been impeccable from them. Literally messaged them over the weekend, like on a Saturday, got an email back by like the Saturday night from the guy saying, yes, we have it in stock, here's the link if you want to buy it. Paid for it on Saturday night, and today's Tuesday when I'm recording this video, so literally from Saturday night to Monday morning first thing, they must have dispatched the order, and I got it on Tuesday. So big shout out to those guys. They've gone above and beyond. Just like the level of service has been really good from them, even in terms of the delivery of the roof rack was super quick from them. So would definitely recommend 4x4 Works. They've been really good to deal with. Anyway, so I'm going to be putting the wind deflector on because the wind is truly unbearable from this thing, so hopefully this will fix it. I try to film a demo of the sound that it makes, but for one, it's not ideal to be filming on your own while you're driving, and I just couldn't, the sound just didn't come out when I did try, so you'll have to just take my word for it. The wind deflector for me is definitely an essential, so hopefully it solves the problem. So let's get on with it and get it installed. Okay, so they use the same system as the actual rack mounts. So it's these sort of semi-round things that go into the channel underneath, and then they twist around to be able to lock into place. So you have 4 of them, so 2 for the middle section of the wind deflector, and then 2 for the outside. So I'm just going to scoot those over. I'm going to attempt to put these on here, and do the 2 outside ones here. It's quite smart how they've done this. So basically they're using the channel in the bottom of the rack to get these things on, so that your front dovetail is still accessible for actually using. These take a 6mm little bolt through there, and you're meant to put a washer between the two, which looks like it's going to be a little bit fiddly to get that through, and another washer on the back of it, and then a nut with a nylock nut on there. So that's that one. And then we're going to do the middle two now. Make sure that we've got this thing centered, which we are slightly off. Okay, no, we're actually fine. So that's good. Okay, I'm just making sure that we've got those plates on the bottom of this thing all square. Good. And there we have it, folks. That's how that goes onto the rack. So it uses the same, as I mentioned, the same brackets inside the underside channels as it does on the top. Sorry for the mounting brackets, these guys. And looking pretty good. One thing to note on the Land Cruiser 80 series is that your clearance between your sunroof and that is very low. Which is fine. That's I wanted a low profile roof rack, but this having the wind deflector on there basically eliminates any chance of using the sunroof, which is not a bad thing. I never use it. I don't understand why they put sunroofs on these vehicles, because they are completely useless. But yeah, hopefully that helps with the noise. It's looking pretty good. Pretty pleased with how that looks, and I think that we can still use the front dovetail system because there's still enough of a gap going all the way along there. So yeah, here's hoping, fingers crossed, we can still use that. So there we have it, folks. That's how I've installed the wind deflector on the 80 series, on the base rack on my Land Cruiser 80 series. Hopefully you've found that useful, but I would definitely, if you are getting the base rack, I would definitely think about getting the wind deflector. I was quite surprised at how much noise there was, and I thought everyone online was just being a bit pedantic about it, but yeah, it's a noisy rack. So I will report back tomorrow once I've taken this for a drive and let you know how it sounds and whether it made a difference. Alright, so I've been running the wind deflector on the ARB for about a week now, since I put it on. And I tell you what, the difference that it has made is unreal. It's quite bizarre actually how much of a difference it makes. And I think the main difference is what I found was the worst sound that that the rack would make without the wind deflector is on the type of road I'm on currently is a single carriageway road where the speed limit's 60 miles an hour, so you're doing a lot of speed sort of between 40 and 60 as you sort of approaching corners, traffic, all that sort of stuff. And this sort of road would have just been torture with the ARB before having the wind deflector, where when you're sitting sort of that roundabout probably 50 miles an hour is around the speed that it would just not have been a pleasant experience. You'd have this sort of deep drone sort of sound that's just, you know, like the only way I can describe it is you know, like in a small modern car, sometimes if you open just like a little bit of the back, one of the back windows, you get like almost that deep drone shuddering sound, which is just so unpleasant. It just like gets into your eardrums, just it's horrible. That's the only way I can describe that sound that was coming from the rack before the wind deflector. So it's not even just the wind noise, because this truck is it's fairly noisy anyway. I don't know whether it's the mirrors or what it is, but before I even had the rack, when I just had nothing on the roof, it's a fairly noisy truck as it is just from the wind noise. And so I wasn't too bothered by the wind noise potentially, but it's that deep drone that was just uncomfortable. It would just get into your head. And yeah, so I'm pleased to say that the wind deflector on the ARB Base Rack has made a huge difference and essentially removed that. So a little bit of I mean, it's a bit painful in the sense that you'd think that you would have hoped that sort of issue would be resolved in the manufacturing process and or recognized as a defect of the product, rather than requiring you to buy an additional item for, I don't know what I can't remember what it costs, £150 or £100 or something for the wind deflector. So that's a little bit annoying, but these sort of things happen quite a lot with these big companies, so pretty common that they upsell something to an additional item for the thing, even though it's potentially to take care of a defect. But anyway, I'm glad that I got the wind deflector. Overall, pretty happy with the roof rack. I've used it quite a bit so far. Having the roller kit on the back is super handy. The other day, I needed to pick up a bunch of timber on my own, and I was loading 6x2 planks on the roof, and quite long lengths as well. They were 4.8 meters, and I was loading them on my own. So having the roller kit on the back where I could just rest the front of the timber on there and then roll it up by myself was super handy. So yeah, I'm very pleased with the roof rack so far. Could definitely recommend it. And yeah, hopefully this video has been helpful. If you are looking at an ARB Base Rack, then remember that you will most likely need the wind deflector. And thanks for watching, folks. We'll see you in the next video. Cheers.